start practice on macroeconomic theory given the following data for a certain ISLM model. So we have been given the desired consumption in the terms of autonomous consumption and the rate of a change with respect to the output and the tax rate, which is given here in the equation 100T minus 300R. So assuming that the desired investment here, it is 100 minus 100R, and the government purchases is 100 is a constant. So this data will give me the IS model. And on the second part, we go for the money demand, monetary policy, money demand and money supply. And the full employment output is 700. So can we find the Y, C, and I, and G? So when we arrange the equation, so the desired consumption is 300 minus 0.5 Y minus T minus 300R. Given the taxes is 100 and the investment and the government purchases, substituting the equation, then we take the C, which is 300 plus 0.5 Y minus T minus 300R plus 100 minus 100, the R, the small r here, plus the 100 that we have it from the government spend. Simplifying the equation, putting the Y on the right side and the rest of the equation for the R on the left side, then the output equation would be represented Y equal 900 minus 800R. So this is the first equation, and this is represented the fiscal policy, IS equation. Getting the other data for the money demand and money supply, but equating both sides, we end up by the Y equal 1,200 minus 400R, and this is the second equation. So using ISLM model, then by equating equation 1 and equation 2, then we can find that the R is negative 29.25, which is dropping in the percentage, very high. It is a trap. No one will have any incentives to put money in the bank. The Y here, when we substitute, we can get the Y, which is 1,134. But if the full employment is 700 and the required is 1,433, this is the typo, then we are not planning well. Looking for another example, an economy has a full employment and the output is 6,000 and the government purchases are given by 1,200. I'm going to do the same steps. So I will have the 3,600 minus 2,000 R plus 0.1 Y. And then here you will find that we don't have any taxes as the previous equation. But if we look for the I, it's giving me the I here. Taking in consideration, then I have to add the 1,200. So if I'm going to rearrange and find the equation for the rest of the model, we're going to substitute by putting the 3,600 minus 2,000 R plus 0.1 I. And this 1,200 minus 4,000, it is bringing from the investment function, and then plus the 1,200 of the government. When we simplify, we find 0.9Y 6,000 minus 6,000 R. Then you simplify at a full employment. I can substitute with the full employment and find the level of interest rate at full employment. So here I substitute with the 6,000 to find the R at the full employment. When I substitute at the full employment, I find that the interest rate is 10%. Proceeding with the equation to find the Y, then you will find the 4,800 with the rest of the equation that I have it from C plus and I. Then you will find that the R is 10%, and the consumption here, if I substitute with the 10% and the output is 6,000, then it gives me 4,000. The same, the level of investment is 4,000. So 800 plus 4,000, this is the consumption. Adding to it to the government spending, then this is, I'm working at equilibrium. Here, another different equations or another model where we have IS only. The previous one, I have IS and LM curve alone. نروح بقى للISM model ونشوف if I am asking you what will be, suppose there is a simultaneously increase in taxes and a reduction in money supply. So increase in taxes, this is will attract your attention that the IS curve will shift to the left. Well, yes, so increase in taxes, I spend less, so the IS curve will shift to the left. Again, what about the LM curve? What happened to the LM curve? If there is a reduction in money supply, then the LM curve will shift to the left. So here, this is called the policy mix. What will be your answers when we try to make analysis to such a case? Investment saving decreases, liquidity of money trapped decreases. So propose an analysis. هنا البوليسي mix how would be the answer? So I will recall IS will LM curve. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use the shifts. If I have a control of the LM model, and this is my answer, that the LM will shift to the left. This is the left due to the decreases. And then I have another shift to the LM, the IS curve to the left at the same situation. So if I have a control on both percentage, the interest rate will remain the same. But if I have this unknown change, then I'm quite sure that the interest rate will be what we call it interest rate. The rate will be what? Ambiguous. Ambiguous. What do you mean by ambiguous? Yani uncertain. So I'm not sure who will be increasing. Uncertain. Uncertain. But the one that I'm sure about it, that the output will what? Output will decrease. So my answer will be what? My answer will be that due to the decrease in investment saving, due to the decrease of liquidity of money, and this has happened in the Arab Spring revolutions. And the Arab Spring Revolution, this is a very well-known case that the IS and LM curve has been shifted to the left. Both of them has been a decreases. What happened to the output? Unfortunately, all the output in all these economies decreases and we have a drop in production. But what happened in the interest rate? The interest rate, sometimes the government interfere and sometimes interest increases and sometimes interest decreases. So another case, which is very interesting case, using also the ISLM model to answer this question. Suppose there is a simultaneously increase in government spending. And this is the case of the COVID. This is the case of the COVID. What happened? The government increased the government spending. The government provide many tools to support the poor people. At the same time, the money supply as well increased. Show the effect using the policy mix. اللي يحصل, what happened? In this case, IS and LM, both of them shifted to the right. When both of them shift to the right, what happened? I need to know what will be the impact. So I will illustrate my answers. I will make a shift to the right and shift to the left for the IS and LM curve. And this will be my graphical representation. I shift to the right, and as well, I shift the LM curve to the right. So here, this is a very good one. And the answers will be very clear. If I change with the same magnitude, then the interest rate will be the remaining the same. But in the opposite way, I will have an increase in mean in output. So what will be the ambiguous? The ambiguous effect will be the interest rate. But what is the determined and the very good things that the government tried to recover? How the government recovered? The government recovered by increasing the financial policies and by increasing the government spending, supporting people. But if the government have a control of the interest rate, then the interest rate and the magnitude will be the same. But if it is uncertain, it is not controlled, there are many other factors that are taken in consideration, then as you see here, the situation will be different and the output will, the output for sure, it will increases as you see here. So the effect will be ambiguous on the interest rate, and sometimes the interest rate increases and sometimes will be increases. It depends on the magnitude. However, the interest rate answers is ambiguous. But the things that I'm quite sure about it, in the output will, that my output will increase due to the shift of both of them. So by this, we explain the COVID-19 case, we explain the Arab Spring case, and we do the modeling and use the mathematical equation. Best of success, and thank you all for your watching.